At the back.
Yes.
Okay, my name's Chris Powis. I'm Head of Library and Learning Services at the University of Northampton, and what I'm going to talk about is our new Waterside campus. And the question there is, because there isn't one, so see if you can spot it as you go through. There is nothing called a library, although that is a picture taken in the building. One caveat, I'm using Sway, which is only the second time I've done it, so bear with me if I misjudge something on it or move it forward too fast or whatever. I'm just trying to be snazzy, that's all. Anyway, okay, what's happened in September, well actually it was August, but it opened to students in September, is that the University of Northampton moved its two existing campuses onto a completely new site just off the town centre. So the River Nen runs alongside it, which is why it's called Waterside, and the town of Northampton is just to the north of the river. So we are literally 5 minutes from the town centre. We were about 4 miles out for our main campus before, with another campus about 2 miles out of the centre. We've closed them. In fact, the bulldozers are on the main site now, turning it into a housing estate. The other campus still, we've got 1 or 2 operations of non-student facing people left there for a couple of years, and then that will go too. So everything moved. This is completely new. It cost somewhere around 360 million, which was underpinned by most of it by the Treasury, which meant they've sat on our governing board for the last several years, which has been fun. But it's a completely new campus. So that's an important thing to keep in mind whenever I talk about this. We had a completely clean sheet of paper for the whole campus, not just redeveloping the buildings as you see in other developments where they'll build a new library or they'll build a new business school or whatever. This is all completely new. Okay, so what we wanted to do as a university is to centre ourselves in the town, which we have. We want to become much more part of the town, and the town is suffering. It's suffering from the loss of the shoe industry and various other industries have left. So we're part of a regeneration. This is an enterprise zone on the south of the town centre. But we wanted to do something different with the campus. We didn't want to replicate what we had before or what most other people have, which is a campus designed around the organisation of the university. So a business school, a school of education, a school of health, a library, a student centre and so on. We want to do that, and what we've done is effectively just got 3 academic buildings. So all of this stuff over here is halls of residence. This is sport. There's a very small student union there, but otherwise you've got 3 buildings. You've got that one, the one up at the top there, and one here. That, bizarrely, is Avon Cosmetics International offices. They may or may not move, depends how noisy the neighbours are. So we have 3 buildings. The creative hub, closest to the river, is made up entirely of labs and studios. So fashion studios, environmental science labs, chemistry labs, that sort of stuff. That's all that's in there, plus some exhibition space. The Senate, this building here, has the Vice-Chancellor's office on the top floor, obviously, on the top floor. Research centres on the ground floor and first floor, and the rest are general teaching rooms. And everything else is in this, which is what I'll talk about for the rest of the talk. That building there, which is called the Learning Hub. So everything else is in there. What we wanted to do is to bring the 3 elements of the learning experience together and put them all in one place. So that's people, that's all people, academics, professional services, spaces, so environment, so you've got open learning space, you've got social learning, you've got formal teaching rooms and so on, all of them are in that building. and resources, so books and other things that people need. Okay, so we brought them all together. We didn't separate them depending on what course you were doing or anything else, apart from the labs and the creative book. So all of the academics are in there. Now the important thing about that building is it's integrated. So the west wing isn't the library. The top 3 floors aren't the library. The business school isn't the knob on the top of it. It's all integrated, as you'll see in a minute. So there isn't any separate differentiation between the buildings. Being our Vice-Chancellor is a lover of change. He decided not just to do that, but to change practically everything else at the same time. So, the other things that were going on, you'll see pictures, I'll pick up pictures throughout. You're not going to see anything you wouldn't see in any new build. We've used the same furniture, people. We used, you know, it's a beautiful building, I think, and it works really well. But you know, you'll see these things, and I'm not claiming anything different for the building. I think it works really well. It's the ethos and the way it works that's different, and that's what I'll talk about as we go through. So, have a look at the pictures, but you won't see anything you haven't seen before, the self-service machines. What he did though, and this is crucial to the working of the campus, because all of these things go into the design of the campus, and particularly this building, because this building is the campus effectively. If you're on campus, you're going to go in this building. We changed our learning and teaching model to active blended learning. So everybody teaches through active blended learning, and that is characterised sometimes, I've seen it in the press, as no lectures. It's not, strictly speaking, true. How can you stop an academic lecturing to 5 people if they want to lecture? But there are no lecture theatres. The active bit replaces the lecture, so it's flipped classroom. So they're using stuff online, or they could be traipsing through a wood if they're environmental scientists, but they're doing something active that prepares them for the small group work that follows. So we changed everything. So there are no lecture theatres on this campus. There's no room bigger than 80, and there's only one of those, and it's a flat room for team-based learning. Every other room is roughly this sort of size. These are teaching rooms, about 25, 30, some of them are 40, no bigger than that. We moved to bring your own device. There are no PCs, no open access PCs. There are 5, I think, labs, computer labs for computers and games art and people like that, but they're not open. You have to be doing those courses to do them. So there are no fixed PCs at all. We supplement Bring Your Own by 348 laptops for load. That replicates the number we had in the library before, but it's nowhere near close to the number we had on the campus. We had IT centres and business school used to have computer rooms and so on. So it is Bring Your Own device. Now we knew that would work because use of our fixed PCs had dropped off dramatically, and we've run surveys for the last umpteen years that shows that at least 98% of students come with a device. We supplemented that by this year giving every first year a laptop as part of their enticement. They could choose not to have it, they could choose to take money instead, or offer vouchers to use on campus, which was mainly used for accommodation. But they all got a laptop. So Bring Your Own device. What we give them is the software they need to do their course. So if they need SPSS, they get SPSS on their machine. We went paperless, so there's no cupboards here, very few cupboards. We don't store paper. You can use paper, you can print it, but you can't keep it. So we went paperless, which means the offices look radically different than the old offices with tottering piles of rubbish. Everybody is mobile working, with the exception of 1 or 2 people in there who are the campus finance, HR, those people who don't see students. Everybody else is mobile working. So we all hot desk, from the Vice-Chancellor down. The academics hot desk, all of them. They don't like that, a lot of them, but they do. So there is no set of offices that students can go and hang about outside to see if the lecturer's in. They have to arrange to see the lecturer. They text them or email them, whatever, and they meet. But we all hot desk. I don't have an office, no. There's no faculty or other organisationally defined buildings. So the business school, traditionally the best building on any campus, doesn't exist as a physical entity. They're all hot desking. They tend to congregate, to be honest, on the second floor, and health tend to congregate on the third floor, and inevitably, and education, humanities and science and technology on the first floor. But it's not defined. You'll not see a sign over the door that says you are now in the School of Health, or you are now in the Faculty of Health or Faculty of Business. There's no library. There's nothing that says anywhere that there's a library. There's nothing that says there's a student centre. So we've all become services. We are not tied in any particular way to named buildings anymore. The services and the way they were organised didn't change. Nothing changed otherwise. They just took away our named buildings. And this means, for example, there's no library training room because there's no library to put it in. So we work with the rest of the academics in the teaching rooms. So they don't come to the library to be taught, and we don't go anywhere else to be. It's just done in a normal room. And as part of this, we've moved to a new integrated learning scheme, which changed the way personal academic tutors were doled out. But it also meant that the library, learning development, which is actually part of my brief anyway, academic skills, and Changemaker, which is employability, have 6 sessions integrated into every programme, every year of every programme, as part of their normal teaching. So that changed as well. We don't have to beg for sessions anymore. We get sessions. We can have extra than 6 if we want, but we get 6. That isn't 6 for the library, that's 6 shared between those 3 services. So in the first year, they get more academic skills and library than they get employability. In the final year, they get more employability than they get library. But they get enough. So we've reached that sort of holy grail of being completely integrated into their courses. It just appears on their timetable as a slot. We negotiate when with the academics, but they don't have a choice of doing it. When we moved, we've been doing this for some time actually, but we've gone in first. So about 80%, so it's somewhere around 83% actually, of our stock, of our collection in inverted commas is online. We don't own most of it because it's online. We pay the sub. But about 83%. And we had that policy for some time. We will always buy the e-version. Interestingly, academics don't like that and say they want print. Students want more e. That's the feedback we've been getting for the last 2 years in the NSS and other surveys. They want more. So we're happy with it. We reduced our print stock by 43% to make it fit. That wasn't a deliberate policy, it wouldn't fit otherwise. In actual fact, it's been good for us, I think. What we did was match, we got Coots to match our collection against the e-availability, and we bought the e-material, which wasn't a huge amount, actually. We got most of it to feed on reading lists, and then we threw all the tat away. And the stuff that was no longer taught, we sent to Tanzania, I think we sent it. But anyway, it went. The place now, our stock looks like Waterstone. It looks so much better because all the tatty old stuff has gone. And we had to give up our idea of security. There are at least 5 ways in and out of this building, and we cannot go with the old way of one entrance, one exit with security. We do have security gates, as we'll see in a minute, but we don't staff them. They can go off all they like. We'll know what's gone through them, because the RFID tells us what's gone through them, but we don't know who's nicked them. Now, our way of rationalising that is 83% is online. Virtually all of our reading this stuff, apart from 1 or 2 areas like art and so on, is online. So they can't pinch that. By and large, nobody in the right mind wants to pinch Introduction to Sociology. They'll bring it back. The reservation system is a bit wonky, but that's been falling off dramatically anyway. We have an interlibrary loan system that allows any student any number of books via interlibrary loan, which we thought might break the bank when we brought it in about 5 years ago, and it hasn't. Spending has stayed roughly the same as it ever did, because we've increased the stock by going in, so actually they don't need it, so I don't so much. Anything that's valuable, we've got in a special collections room, and that's mediated access. So they're not going to need the readers. So, as I say, you're not going to see anything you haven't seen before. We've got verandas they can go out on, we've got group work, we've got individual. These are the most popular things in the library. I don't know if you find that in yours. Bonkettes, we call them. That's probably 24/7. That's the main entrance to the building. Books on shelves that look, I don't know if you can see it in this slide, but they look really nice because we've chucked all of this work. And that's an example of our security. So most of the book stock is on the upper floor, not all of it by any means. All of our print journals haven't got any security around them at all. But these are the normal RFID gates here. There's nobody anywhere near them. There's no security. There's no library staff anywhere near them. They can flash. We don't have them beeping that send people mad. But you know they can flash all that. We just know what's gone through, and we are not finding stuff is being pinned in the 3 months. No more than it ever was anyway. It's all shiny and new, isn't it? It'll be scuffed at the end of the year. Nice. Okay, very quickly go to the plan so you get a rough idea. So these are this is the ground floor. We've got the main entrance over on my left, but there are other entrances you can get into here. You can get in through that pink stuff at the top is a cafe. You can get in through the back of that. And there is another entrance here, which is the 24/7 entrance. So after 8 o'clock, it becomes swipe card access only, otherwise it's open. The ground floor of every building is completely open, so we have exhibitions and so on the ground floors, and then the security at the top of the stairs or before you go into the lift, so you have to swipe in to get further up. But we have a very permissive, if you go and ask for a card, you can have one from the main visitor centre. So it's not a library, I don't control that. As you come in, you go through that white bit, which is the main sort of open space. And right in front of you, there's the main student desk, just along there. And the main student desk has all of the front-facing services. This is quite common now to see. So everybody from mental health to IT to how do I change my module to where are the toilets. So they'll take all of those. There's 8 seats, but there's usually about 4 or 5 people on. And at night, or after that closes, that becomes the security. So there's always a security person on there and another one patrolling the building, plus irregular patrols generally. But so you've got their offices in blue there, so they're behind, so you can triage people. And the green is teaching space, so that's the big open plan teaching area. And these are shelves. So there are, our print journal collection is down there, and that signals the fact that it's an academic building. There's absolutely no security on that at all. So it's that mix of people, spaces and resources. You've got the first floor and the second floor. The first floor it's hatched because it's double height or treble height, so you're not looking up. This is actually the mezzanine on the restaurant. I forgot to say there's about 5 cafes in this building. You'll see them in a minute. And again, they're not library cafes. They're not outside of where there are books or in those. but then we've had a hot food and drink policy for many, many years anyway. The green are teaching rooms, and the light blue at the top are academic workspaces. So they're open, planned workspaces for academics. This is where you'll find us, in this big blue open plan space. But the second floor is perhaps the more interesting one, in that you can see shelves, the yellow shelves, with the teaching rooms opening directly out onto them. The purple ones are teaching rooms as well. But they open out directly onto it. And the top floor, third floor, you've got more teaching rooms around here, and then books, specialist teaching rooms. There's an ambulance in one of these, actually, in the paramedic sciences one, just where I sit. And then the top floor, this area here is the only bit that we can close off, so there are doors here, so this is silent. And practically the only rule we have is that that's silent. Anything else is down to the people who use it to define how they're going to use it. So this is silent. This is a bar, so the only academic library I know of with a bar in it. And some books, and then a nice terrace there where you can look at the splendours of Northampton. The ethos underpinning it, because this is important. Like I say, the spaces, you'll have seen the spaces before. You've seen social learning, you've got social learning, you've got books on shelves and stuff. The difference is all of this is integrated, it isn't separated out. And there are 5 things that make it work. It's innovative. The whole concept, I think, is innovative, but by innovative, what I mean is it welcomes change and it battles inertia. What we have to do is find new ways of doing things. We can't hark back, oh, I wish I had a library room, oh, I wish I had a library meeting room, instead of having to go through the normal booking system. Oh, I wish I had this and that. We have to find new ways all the time, and we are expecting this building to change over time. We want it to change over time. That's what I mean by innovative. I don't mean we all ride around on unicycles or whatever, you know, it's a good idea. But it's welcome to change. So that's great light, is it? But that you can see the different levels there. Again, I've seen other pictures like that in other places. You can see there's a cafe. This is on the first floor. There's a cafe, there's a teaching room. All the teaching rooms have glass fronts. It's like a zoo. You can go and watch it and teach. Which must be really distracting for the teachers, for the lecturers. But the students don't seem to mind. But very different. It's opening out onto that open space. It's all integrated. And that is, some of you may know some of those people, say that's a library meeting. So we haven't got a meeting room that's free, so they've gone and found a table. And you'll see that throughout the building. You'll see academics, you'll see professional services having meetings, teaching in the open spaces, using the spaces because they're able to use the spaces to do that. The second thing about it is it's adaptable. There are no fixed computers. As soon as you have fixed computers, you have fixed the space. So because we have the bring your own device and the mobiles, nothing is fixed. The furniture is all movable. I mean, that's particularly movable, that's furniture, but all of the furniture is pretty much movable around. Some of the booths are less so, but most of it is movable. And this is important because we have no fixed idea of what a teaching or a learning space is. You aren't taught in a classroom all the time. You can be taught there if it's appropriate to do so. You can be taught in amongst the resources if it's appropriate. You can be taught outside if you want. You can find your own learning space, and there's umpteen different configurations in here. And we have absolutely no expectation that the building will be the same this time next year, in 5 years or 20 years. It might be, but we have no expectation that it will be. We're going to respond to use. Obviously we've only been in 3 months, but we're already doing all of the UX things and so on. We're looking at how the building is used, and we will respond to that with no fixed idea of what it will turn out like. We're letting the people who use it define how it works. That isn't just students, that's staff as well. Remember, all the staff are in there, apart from the Vice-Chancellor's office and some research support staff. Any staff on the campus are in this building, so they will define how it will work. If we had built a library, we're pretty much defining that building's use. The notion of what a library is changed radically in my working life, but we're pretty much saying that's the library. What this is a learning book. It's completely different. It isn't anything. It's what is made of it, what the people will make of it, what the users will make of it. That's the bar, actually. It's technology rich. It will only work if there's fantastic Wi-Fi, if there's fantastic power availability, if there's sockets everywhere. But we're using IT to facilitate things, not drive things. And we go for university solutions, not individual needs. So we'll put something in that works for the whole university. When I say we, I mean the IT department. Now, if I'm being honest, it's not been right. The Wi-Fi is not fantastic at this minute. The network is not fantastic at this minute. It will be after January, I'm promised, by the new head of IT, but it's not at this moment. It's okay, but it needs to be fabulous. Those teaching rooms don't have projectors. They all work off barcode. Some of you may know barcode, but the lecturer, there's no lecterns because there's no lecturing. So the lecturer comes in with their, or the librarian for that matter, to do a skill session, comes in with their laptop and connects using software. If you don't have fabulous network, fabulous Wi-Fi, that is problematic. So we're using, see the little labels on their laptops below. And it's democratic. Now by democratic, I mean that all users, staff and students, feel they have a say in its development. So we'll not only respond to student behaviour, so things like food and drink, they want to eat hot food in the building, they need hot food in the building. And they wanted silent areas, so we gave them silent areas. We did all of the things that everybody does before we moved in. We had focus groups, we interviewed people, we used the surveys, we got the student union involved, we did all of that sort of stuff. But we also had a working group for 3 years that had representatives of all of the people in there. So there were students on that group, but there were representatives of each of the faculties, there were representatives of each of the professional services on it to develop it as well. And we went on endless visits. It's democratic in that sense. We're looking at different ways to gather information on it, data on it, so it's not just head counts and NSS scores and so on. We're doing all of the UX things. We have carried on that working group to manage the space. So in the old world, before August the 1st, when I moved down there, I controlled the building. If I wanted to turn the 3rd floor into a silent area, nobody would query it. I'd just do it. If I wanted to get extra furniture or whatever, I'd just do it, if I got the money. Now I can't, because nobody owns this building. So it has to be managed, apart from the change in light bulbs, which is done by estates, it has to be owned by all of the users. And the way we're trying to do that is through effectively a parliament. So there are representatives of all of the users, including the students, who meet fortnightly in a it's called a operational steering group. But everything is fed into that, we make decisions on the building, and then that's fed out to the people who can actually do something about it. Mainly me, that I have to do something about it. But that could result in a camel as a horse designed by a committee. It could work as proper democracy, so we all own it. It could be changed in 2-3 years, and they appoint a head of learning hub. Who knows? But at the moment, that's so good. So we want it to be democratic. And then the last element that goes to make it up is, that's it. That was a tutorial, actually. Is that it's integrated. It can only work if it's fully integrated. So everybody has to work together. If we don't, it will fail. Now, that's not there now. People have transferred their silos. Inevitably, they've transferred their silos. I think we're probably better than others, but then librarians, generally speaking, are better in doing that than others. But others have not fully yet. These people, the change-maker club, have. They work really openly and well with us and others. And there's the student information desk. Again, they're working pretty well with us. The end. That's it. We're through. Please come and visit, because it's impossible to really give you a sense of the place until you visit. But it is radically different. It's not a library, and giving up that has been interesting. Not for me, I don't care, actually, because I was involved with the plan from the start, so I wanted this. I didn't ask for a new library. I wanted that. Some of my staff find it very difficult to give up the library. Anyway, ask me.
Thank you.